definition of happiness varies for every individual around the world. Everyone is born with a disposition of how they plan to achieve happiness within their lifetime and what defines one's level of happiness. These standards control our desire to live the life we want to live. Is there a difference between satisfaction and happiness? Do we settle to be satisfied or strive to be happy? People find the need to surround themselves with people they love, things they love, and with whatever makes them happy. This is the study of what about life makes others happier than others. So yeah, this room is kind of just a creative environment for me. If I'm not sleeping upstairs, I'm probably here. It's where I consume 90% of my time, probably either doing homework or playing music, which consumes most of my time, and it's a big part of my life, and it just kind of allows me to let go in here and be happy. It's a fun thing for me to do. Do homework. It's a quiet, nice place just to kind of relax and feel alright. I think another part of happiness and living a happy life is just to be lucky in some parts. And I'm lucky that I was born having two parents that love me, two great parents, and raising me in an environment where I can grow and develop in a nurtured way and have great friends, and I feel like that's really important too.
What makes me happy is definitely friendship and family, and also being able to give back to the community. I think that especially in high school, being able to get away from all the stress that you're feeling and all the pressure that's being put on you, you can either go back home to your family and relax, or you go out with your friends and you can kind of let loose. Oh God. I definitely think family is a really, really important part of happiness. Without my family, I'd probably be a lot less motivated, and I think I wouldn't have as many people pushing me to do my best. I think that your family are the people that really want the best for you. I think a lot of people are motivated by their family's happiness. A lot of parents, all they strive for is to make their kids happy, and that's a big part of their own happiness. So definitely family is a huge factor in a lot of people's happiness, and for some people that's the only thing that makes them happy. If they don't have, if they don't have any friends, if they don't have something that they're interested in, they can always go to their family and have people to bring them up.
So soccer for me has always been a way for me to leave stress and just to forget certain stuff that's going on in my life. And when I step on the field, I just am focused completely about playing the game with my teammates and everything. And I think that has really helped me cope with things that have happened in my life. I think the most rewarding thing about soccer for me has been my teammates and just having that common goal that you can accomplish and the relationships that you can build through that. And one of the things I've really had to learn was how to manage my time and balance between what I love and my friendships and also my family and school. I think when you learn how to manage your time, you become a happier person because you don't have to worry about all the stress of deadlines and people getting upset when you don't hang out with them. Playing sports really serves as an outlet to meeting new people and having new relationships. So one of my best friends that I've met happens to be through soccer, and she was on my 4th grade soccer team. And then after that season, we kind of lost contact. We didn't have phones or anything. But then in 7th grade, we came back and we're on the same team. And so soccer really brought us back together. And even today, we're not on the same team anymore, but she's one of my best friends. We tell each other everything. We hang out from time to time. And so without soccer, I wouldn't have had her. For my high school team, I've grown really close to a lot of the seniors, and just having them there and people you can look up to, having these friendships has made me a happier person, and having that outlet to get all my stress out, get all my anger out in a healthy way has made me a happier person and has really helped with my well-being in my life.
You first.
Coffee,
Coffee.
and good people, and Jesus,
Yeah,
pretty much.
that sums me up too.
Makes me less stress. My wife makes me happy. My religion makes me happy, knowing where I'm coming from, where I'm going, and where I came from, and what am I doing here. Having all those blocks in a row makes me happy. I love good food, makes me daggone happy, as you can tell.
There's good times and bad times. It's not always rosy. Look, it's not sunny right now, but I'm enjoying the breeze. So it's your perspective. We could all be in the same conditions or situation, but your perspective, the old cliche is the glass half filled or half empty, is really critical in how you're going to do in life, whether it's a school test, whether it's meeting people, whether it's a challenge. We all have challenges in our lives. And if you have that attitude, then I think you're going to tackle it in a much better way and have a better outcome.
Makes me happy.
Yeah.
Positive things. Things with a good attitude,
I like playing video games and stuff like that. That makes me happy. And sometimes reading can lift up my spirits.
I like coloring, and I also like designing different, like either clothes or I like decorating stuff.
Jesus, I just don't have any words because he's just so great to me. You don't even understand.
I actually just liked a tweet the other day that I think goes along the lines of this. It's something like, when you're in a moment that you just don't want to stop living.
You're looking at it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Friendship, family, what else? Good times, right? Enjoying
Free,
life.
Yes. Spontaneously, not always scheduled. That's happy.
No, when you're in the moment of something and you don't want to ever look back. Does anything you know what I'm talking about? When you're in a moment, you don't want to leave that moment ever again. I just liked to tweet about it the other day.
Yeah. I found out now that some things mean to me more now than others. Playing around doesn't mean so much. And now I'm looking more at the spiritual part, and the family part. So, I mean, I was rowdy when I was a kid, but now I don't want to be so rowdy.
Yeah, definitely. I used to get happy at Spider-Man.
I still get happy with Spider-Man.
So yes and no.
Family becomes more important to you, right?
Family and friends.
As you get older, family and friends, yeah.
Get more and more important. Yes.
It is the international system of currency which determines the totality of life on this planet. That is the natural order of things today.
I think in general, yes, family comes first, especially now that we all have kids. And to me, okay, she didn't bring up money, but you kind of need money, right? So you need to find a good job. You need to have a good work. I mean, you need to study and do all those things and be successful, right? I mean, some people are just naturally smart and they don't need to go to school. So I just think that you need money. You can't be a poor, happy person.
Right.
To me, you kind of need a little bit of money to kind of ascertain everything else, you know? So to me, it's like family and of course your friends, but you still need money to be able to enjoy all of it. Now see, I think money and work is the things you do so that you can spend time with your family and friends. You know, so that's not like my priority. My priority is get out of work at the end of the day so I can go home and be with my family. Right? So you just work so that you can afford to be able to spend time with your family. That's true.
Or you can marry someone who has that and is a little bit gives you it just affords you a little bit more time. But like I said, but it's true. You need money you do need to afford in order to those things that you want.
If you're lucky enough to find somebody who will support you, then that's fine.
Okay, so I think money helps us be comfortable. I think there's a limit. And then you don't need as much, and it won't make you happy. But I think there's a comfort level that we all want, of course, to pay our bills and take care of our family and everything. But I don't think you need millions or billions to be happy. In fact, I don't think people who have millions are happier than those that don't.
Do you think students should get paid for going to school and getting good grades?
Yes, because I'm actually very broke and I have to spend my time at school instead of earning money by making lemonade stands, which by just earning money, and it's the same thing as being an adult going to work every day.
Do you think judging people based on how much money they make or how many things they have is right?
No, because that's not their personality. If they make a lot of money, but they do it because like they sell drugs, they don't have that's a horrible character. But if they make a lot of money because they're making things like schools for girls who can't go to school and getting a lot of profit off of it, that's good money making.
I definitely put family and friends first. I think that's most important.
Yeah.
Because money comes and goes, but the people you
forever.
spend time with are the most important. Yeah. Then probably, I guess like right now, school.
Mine would be school.
Yeah. That's really important
And then a
right
job,
now.
because you kind of need
Yeah.
that to live.
If it makes you happy by doing something good, but if it makes you happy because you're rich, so you can be rich and have all the fame, it's not good, because family and friends and just helping other people should make you happy other than money and being famous and being rich and being. Money's not everything. I think a lot of money, like $1 million maybe. I don't know. I'm not an adult. I used to think it was 100. It's stupid, but I think it's around 20,000 to $2 million.
We all know the common phrase, money can't buy happiness. However, some argue it can, depending on how you earn it and how you spend it. Then there are those who say you can live a happy life no matter how much money you have. Here's what we suggest as a middle ground. Number 1, if money can't buy happiness, and number 2, if you need money to survive, what is the point? The point is, money buys you time. Time to do the things that make you happy. Former Redskins player, tight end, Chris Cooley, has recently left the game of football, the game he has loved for most of all of his life, to shift to another passion of his, pottery and the arts, as he shifts into a new stage of his life. We had the opportunity to interview him at his new pottery shop in downtown Leesburg, Virginia.
All right. How are you today? You know what? I'm good, man. I smell like crap. I got clay and dirt all over me. But I'm good. I'm doing stuff.
It's authentic. I like it.
Yeah, authentic. I know. So I remember being a little kid, and my grandmother lived really close, like a 2-minute walk up the street. We were in Wyoming. And I remember sitting at her front table and painting, drawing. My parents, one of the first memories, I think, what are you, like 6, 7, when you're like start to remember stuff? Something like that? Maybe you remember it back further than that, yeah. But you know, I probably have CTE from football, so. No, I'm just kidding, that's actually not true. I remember wood carving, like the little kid craft hobby wood carving set. But from being very little, I loved making stuff or doing something, I guess, with my hands. So that was always really cool for me. My dad had a wheel. I think it was the first electric wheel ever made, the first one that you didn't have to like kick. I swear it was from the 20s. I still have it. It's so old, it doesn't hardly work very well. But I remember doing pottery as a little kid and watching my dad make stuff. And he wasn't really a potter, but he was pretty crafty. I just thought it was the coolest thing in the world. You put a chunk of clay down and something comes out. There you go, man. That's awesome.
I like basketball because I'm good at it and it's fun and I want to be an NBA player when I grow up.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
An NBA basketball player.
Why?
Because I play it now and I'm not interested in anything else. And that's what makes me happy. And I also promised my 3rd grade resource teacher, it's kind of a stupid promise, that I'd win a championship from the Bulls because she liked the Bulls. So yeah, that was kind of a bad promise.
It doesn't matter if it's pottery, it doesn't matter if it's like working in this building. Like this whole gallery, I renovated this gallery. Like I sheetrocked and paint and dyed the floors and trim and cut the stairs. I think that's all art. I think making stuff is art, and there's a lot of different forms of it, but I like when you can tangibly see a finished product, or in my case, let's call it an 80% product. So this building has been open for a year and a half. I think I bought this like 4 years ago, and it took me about a year to get it to where it was open. I had a gallery up the street that we leased for about 5 years. So I've had a gallery for almost 7 years now. But it's nice to have it be yours completely, so you can do whatever you want.
First, I'd say psychology. We learn a lot about how to be happy. You can look at different approaches. The humanistic approach, of course, we look at Abraham Maslow and his hierarchy of needs, and that we have to feel safe and then belong, and get self-esteem, and then reach self-actualization. And I think there's something to that. Also, the cognitive perspective would say we need to change our thoughts. I think I'm more along that line because I think there's really power in your thoughts. I love the old fable, I don't know if you've ever heard this, about the Indian chief and his grandson. And the grandson comes to him and says, "Grandfather, I have these 2 wolves in my head, a good one and a bad one. And I don't know which way to go. What do I do?" And the grandfather says, "It's whichever one you feed." And to me, that just means if you want to be good, you need to feed yourself with the good stuff, meaning, go out in nature, read good stuff, listen to wonderful music, be around people that make you happy and joyful, and then you'll be happier. I think there are 2 paths.
I think it's really interesting because like defining success is tough. Like, I think it's achieving what you want to achieve. I think it's having goals, and even if you don't achieve them, like knowing that you did everything you could do to achieve the goal. Like, I'll give you this example. I wanted to try to play football again last year. I'd not played for 2 years, and man, I got in good shape, and I felt like I could play for sure, and I really wanted to. And I worked out for the Giants, which was funny because everyone here was so mad at me. Like, "You're supposed to be a Redskin forever." And that was the only workout that I had, and it didn't work out. But like, there was a no regret feeling. Like, I did it, it didn't work. I did everything I could possibly do to do it. And that was success to me. Like, I felt like at the end of that process, I was completely content. Like, I was completely happy with where I was at. I was proud of what I had attempted to achieve. And so, I mean, it wasn't a grand success, I guess, in the scheme of things, but in my heart, I guess contentment made it a success.
So that's why I think it's so interesting how people define success. For me, success no longer is about being the attorney or being the teacher or whatever. For me, success is that I am a light in the world and build people up, make them feel good about themselves. That's what I want to strive for. That's success for me, if I can do that for people.
Try to be really realistic with who I am and what I'm doing, and I don't think in anything I've done I've been the best. Like, and I know that's crazy, like on an NFL level I was close, right? But I still don't even think in my own position I was ever the best. But I never quit at anything I ever did, and I think that's, you credit your parents for that. And I always felt confident in myself and everything that I did. People around me joke, and it started out as my wife, and it's become everybody. "Oh, I'm really good at that." Like, that's what everyone says. I guess that's what I say. "Oh yeah, I can do that." "Oh yeah." I know I can't do it as great, but I damn sure know I can try. And maybe some of that, a lot of that is my mom. You talk about your parents. My mom was a high school teacher at Briarwoods in Ashburn, and I remember a conversation from me being in high school and her talking about students in her class raising their hand to ask for help, and her answer was always, "Why don't you want to try to figure it out yourself before you ask for help?" And so I've always done that, even to my detriment. even to walking around Super Target for an extra 45 minutes because I can't find what I want to find. I will try to do it myself, much and as long and as hard as I possibly can. I think people are afraid to fail more than ever before. I think people are afraid of being criticized, becoming being not perfect, not being the best. I think we live to some extent in a world of who's to blame for something instead of people looking at themselves and realizing what they can do to fix things, or at least fix things around them. So, I don't know, I mean, I would have a hard time not waking up and being happy. If I wasn't waking up doing something I like, I'd change it. No, I always said, like to you guys too, like when kids get out of school and they don't have jobs, like they're trying to do stuff they can't. I gotta start my own lawn mowing. I go buy a lawnmower and start banging on doors and be like, I'll mow your lawn for this, I'll mow your lawn for this, and find a way to like create that and make something, like at least make enough money to do something else that I wanted to do and build that to something else that. And I'd get halfway through people's lawns and then I'd probably get distracted and go wandering off in the trees, but yeah, it's another project. Well, see, your tree over there, like, you might go, well, I gotta go back to Home Depot and get a saw, but I can get that too.
It's supposed to snow a foot this weekend. Let me get a shovel.
Yeah, I better pick up a shovel on the way there, and we could even stain your concrete. But no, I am amazed when people do things they don't like to do. But also, you have to understand, you also have to find ways to support yourselves in decisions that you make, and people have family, there are things that you care about that you want to take care of, and you look at it, work as something, as a means to get to the end of what you really care about.
Get to that comfort level.
Like, hey, look, I'm willing to go to work for 9 hours a day, and I don't like it, but when I'm done, I still can do what I want to do at the end of that period of time. I've never had that problem. I didn't like football for 4 or 5 years. I mean, abhorred football. Yeah, it was hard in college. It was not fun. I did not expect to play in the NFL. I played in high school. I grew up loving it, okay? So I grew up loving football. And I played, by the time I got to high school, I didn't. I love sports and I love watching football, but I didn't necessarily love it. But I was good at it. I played because all my friends played. And I didn't start for our varsity team until I was a senior. So I played JV, which was all right. And then in my senior year, all of a sudden, I played good enough to get a scholarship. Utah State is where I went to school. It was my only offer. So I went to Utah State. I could have went and wrestled, but that would have been, imagine wrestling in college. I still, to this day, couldn't imagine it. And I didn't start there until the end of my junior year, so I didn't have any aspirations to play professional football. I was going to be an art teacher and coach high school wrestling. Don't want to do college wrestling, but I had to coach high school wrestling. And in that whirlwind year, I was here. And it's amazing what I did here in terms of opening doors for things in the future, not only financially, but just because of connections and your presence in the community, or my presence in the community, who I am. I'm so fortunate for that. Like, I don't take that for granted in any way, shape, or form, but it's also like how fast that happened to me. Like, it's amazing how opportunity is everything in life. And sometimes people get lots of them. And sometimes people only get a couple of them. Like, so that moment, like when the opportunity is right, finding a way for that to work, I think it's a pretty critical moment in, I think, a lot of people's lives. I ask myself how I need to balance my life every single day. I wish there were, I wish I didn't have to sleep. Honestly, I don't like sleep. It's important and necessary, but it's tough. It's a lot easier when without a kid, because you don't feel the necessary obligation to spend a certain amount of time in certain places. But as far as when I was playing and making art, it's a job. Football's a job. I mean, especially when you're in it for a while. And I loved it. I hated it for 3 or 4 years. Did really hated it. I remember pacing around before the second training camp, like pacing my house. No, I have to go to hell tomorrow. But I grew to really love it. But it was still a job, and then it ends, right? So like I was done a lot of days at 3 or 4, and then in an NFL year, the football offseason, the NFL offseason is the greatest thing ever. Like you go from working all the time to January through April, like having nothing to do, which is the greatest thing in the world, so you can travel or do whatever. And so I just found time whenever.
Well, what makes me really happy is Jesus, but the most important thing on earth to me is singing. And you know who's inspired me to be singing and dancing is the one and only Beyonce. She's done everything from TV shows, musicals. Like this girl is on fire. I'm telling you, she's been on tour for like years since she was 9 years old. Did you know that? She got record deals when she was 15 years old. Skipped high school. She left high school, and she's now the most powerful woman in the world. So, you know, what else? What else can I say? You know, she's really inspiring. Well, whenever I'm down or something like that, you know, I just listen to Beyonce, and it just makes me happy, and then I forget about it. Like, I'm not joking. Like, I'm so serious.
What about dancing?
Dancing gets my mind off of everything. When I dance, like, I just think about, you know, making dances for my dance team, hip-hop dance team or whatever. And I have a show coming up. It's the halftime show for the fashion show. It's gonna be rescheduled for next year, but yeah, it's gonna be big. Big fashion executives there, so I'm very honored.
Do you have a favorite song?
I really like all Beyonce songs.
What's your favorite?
Go figure that out.
If I had to pick
If you could
one.
only listen to one for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Don't put me in that position.
If you enjoy wasting time, is that time really wasted? No. The time you enjoy wasting is not wasted time. However, you must live a life capable to ensure you have the opportunity to have that time of yours. However, some people choose to spend their time differently. They have an interest that consumes their thoughts intensely, thus creating a passion. This passion, whether it be through studying a craft or learning about an area of focus, is bred by curiosity and a desire to do something and be great at it.
Yeah, it's funny because it's a balance for me for everything that makes me happy. I have a 2-year-old daughter, and there's not even anything close to that. Like we were playing catch, and then we just got a bat, a little baseball bat, and she can hit the ball. That's cool. Yeah. That is so special. As far as me, I think I'm a workaholic, which I don't know if it's good or bad. I know it doesn't make everyone around me the happiest, but I have to have like 37 projects going on at the same time. I'm not very good at finishing them. I'm really good at starting them.
For me, to enjoy little moments, like you see the breeze there and the flowers and just how the air smells and enjoying a coffee. And even when I do work, I'm really productive, I get into it, but I think if you have appreciation, especially if you've traveled to other places and you've seen a lot of people are not as fortunate as you are yourself, it gives you a completely different perspective. And I think people and communities and reaching out is what makes us a better world, better place. So I live every moment the same way.
Tell us about Africa.
Africa was very fun, but it made me change my thinking because when they go home, and I see them getting dropped off, I don't see them going anywhere. I just see them go, like, they're not living anywhere, which is really sad. And they only get 2 meals a day, and it's from the school. It's sad.
I like being able to give back to other people, and this summer I was able to go to Africa, and I was able to teach at a school in Congo, and just being around these little girls that didn't really have anything, and they were still the happiest people I've ever seen. So that was that taught me a lot about what makes people happy, and it's really not any possessions that people kind of have. The girls that I met were just so excited to have to have the opportunity to have an education. So teaching them was really important to me, because that was their biggest thing that made them happy, was going to school.
Levels of happiness can also be determined simply by one's perspective on life. Certain cultures may perceive the world differently than others. For example, the Native American people of the Hopi tribe are famous in the field of psychology for their language. They don't speak in the past tense. Therefore, this presents an interesting viewpoint, because if they don't speak it, they theoretically don't think about it. They think in the present moment and future, evolving into an optimistic mindset, therefore increasing their levels of happiness. Another example lies within the indigenous people of the Pacific Islands. They are a communal-based society, and their houses are always open for everyone to see in. There is a little sense of privacy within the villages. This leads to a virtually 0% crime rate, as everything is on display, as there's nothing to hide, and increased levels of acceptance on everyone who they surround themselves with, being known as some of the happiest people on the planet. From today's modern, industrialized world perspective, these people may be seen as primitive and backwards, but perhaps we could learn something from them. Perhaps our society has made us bound for a life full of a depressed state of mind. I see the Hopi tribe and Pacific Islanders as a refreshing reminder of how different cultures reflect different levels of happiness, and how interactions with our own minds and other people have an impact on our well-being.
I think there are two paths. I saw that in my life this year, when the worst thing that I thought could ever happen to me did. When my son passed, I thought I would never be able to sit here and talk to you. But what I learned is I had a choice, and I could grieve the rest of my life and be sad, or I could take a different road. and honor him and love my other children and the people in my lives, and find some way out. And I have, by learning about the afterlife and learning about myself, and it's been this journey. And I think that's what life's about. You're on this path and struggles come. And I don't know if we label them good or bad, but you're supposed to learn from them and you're supposed to go on. And that's what life's about. And so you can choose to still be happy if you when those things happen to you, you have to stop and say, okay, that's cognitive, I guess. You have to stop and say, what am I supposed to learn? And then do better. So I think it's a choice. I'm not saying it's easy. It was not easy. I could have easily gone and hidden in my room and cried and been unhappy the rest of my life. Easily. And I think people would have been okay with that. They could have been like, okay, that's what people do, but I couldn't do it. There is something in me, there is a joy, a light in me that just could not be stamped out. And I wanted to do better. In fact, it makes me want to be a better person, a light in the world, and spread joy. So I think it's a choice.
So why does this all matter? Yes, these perspectives of focus do not reflect points of view from around the world, or even from different viewpoints within America. But why these three categories? Money, passion, and a sense of home, such as health and loving relationships. We believe these are basic characteristics that dictate happiness in today's society. These three are determinants of one's level of fulfillment in life. But does someone need all three? Is one more important than the others? Are some more necessary than others in different stages of life? For example, when we look at love, at the beginning of life, it is very important to have the attachment of a mother or a father figure. With the example of money, without it, you're dead in some regards. And as we looked at earlier, it doesn't buy you happiness. It buys you time. Time to do things that will give you happiness. That's the mindset people should have. Instead of thinking money allows you to buy things, tangible objects that have virtually no significance in the long run, people should see the importance of the little things in life that make you happy. People say they love their iPhone, but when the new one comes out, that older generation is now meaningless to them. And we get trapped in this cycle of consumerism and materialism that drags us down and deteriorates our sense of love for our true belongings. Throughout our study, we have noted people tend to explain what makes them happy by them giving details about what they have. This is a strong misconception about the human nature of happiness and what it truly is. When people ponder to try to answer the question, what makes you happy? They tend to think too broad. Somewhere along the lines of religion, family, friends, job, an income, some hobbies. But what do all these have in common? On a day-to-day basis, they all have the potential to make you smile. Even those listed that have the potential to make you sad at times, it just makes that smile much more meaningful. A smile is universal. Happiness is contagious. Doing something good for someone will make them feel good. If they feel good, they're more likely to do something kind for someone else, and the cycle continues. That's what it's all about. The big picture is overseen by the little things. Spreading happiness is the most beautiful thing about human nature, and how is it done? Well, it simply starts with a smile.